when you're filming a video, but you start to lose track because you've already done 2 takes already, and then you start feeling tired, right? Consistent commitment, right? So I'm coming in, right, live from the Asda car park before I go and buy 2 journals, right? What I wanted to talk about was there is people that have experienced a lot of trauma, right? A lot of childhood trauma, and you know, a lot of things that they're moving through in their lives that probably are not the best, and the circumstances feel really scary to them. And typically what happens is you don't want to be a victim because you understand how manifestation works. You're not completely centered in your body because you've been healing for so long, right? And you're thinking, why is this still not working? And then you're trying too hard, right? So you're trying too hard with the strategy. You're trying to take responsibility for everyone and everything. You're not accepting love and support, and then you're trying to fit into a rigid structure that's not how your spirit wants to flow, right? So maybe you think, like, to have good habits you need to get up early, go for an exercise, do your meditation, then have a shower, and then sit down and do your content creation or something along those lines. Now, I'm not saying don't have good habits, right? Hear me very, very clearly. What I'm saying is you want structure, and you want structured flexibility. So for me, I do have core habits and things that I do, but they don't always look exactly the same, right? I might not always have the same meditation practice every single morning. I might switch it up a little bit. I do a core relaxation exercise every single morning because I know how important it is for my nervous system to relax. But every single day of mine is different because I'm a manifestor profile. So anytime I feel like I'm doing something that is rigid or monotonous or, you know, just it doesn't inspire me in that way, it kind of, it puts me into a kind of a flat energy. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That might be your design. You might be very controlled. You might have a very set structure, and that's perfectly fine. I have structure, but I also have a ton of intuition and inspiration that flows through me. And so if I am trying to put myself into a rigid structure, it actually shuts down that flow. And so I do core principles. I hit everything that I'm supposed to be doing, but it looks different on the outside, right? So right now I'm sitting in my leggings because I haven't gotten changed from when I wake up and drop my son off. I've done my meditation and everything this morning, but now I'm going to go and buy a journal, and I'm going to do my, I'm going to work on my business probably at a park somewhere, right? Because I love going outside. I'll probably go to the woods and do it there before I come back home and clean the bed and do what else, do whatever else I need to do, right? Because the other stuff doesn't take me very long anyway, right? It takes me about 10-20 minutes, and it doesn't hang over me. But the reason why I'm saying that is because this is how I am, right? This is me. This is who I am supposed to be. This is how I show up. This is what wants to flow through me. And so what I see with people who have a lot of trauma, but you know, they are also very intellectually minded, is they are just really hard on themselves. So they try hard with the strategy. They are really scared because they still have a lot of trauma in their body and they feel fear. They don't trust themselves, right? And fully. And then they also have these negative thoughts and stories in the background that then they then feel bad about because they know how manifestation works. And I invite you, right, if you're like that, to come back into a state of neutrality and into a state of peace and flow and joy, and to really start asking the question, is this what I want? Is this what I'm choosing? Do I want these thoughts and feelings, right? But not in a way that is forced. And this is really key. I hope you understand this. When you are feeling triggered and you have fear in your body and you can see the negative thoughts ruminating and all the rest of it, and you try to shift into positive thoughts, and you try to focus on what it is you want, and then you try and follow the strategy, and you try and do what everybody else is telling you to do, it's exactly the same thing. You're in exactly the same energetic space as you are when you were in fear and lack. It's exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same side of you. So how do you shift it, right? How do you shift it? So what I do is, first I decide that I'm going to shift it, right? not all in like 2 seconds. I won't do it all in 2 seconds because that's force, but I know that I'm going to shift it. So the first thing that I do is take myself back to neutral. And this is something that I've learned from a lot of mentors now, right? This information is core across the board, but it's however you hear it, is to pull myself back into a neutral energy. So maybe that thing will happen, I'll still be okay, right? That's how I start observing it, and then I will move to, but I know how I create. So I'm just gonna sit here, right, in the tension until I get back to a neutral space. I'm not trying to get rid of it, right? I'm not trying to get rid of it. I'm not trying to change anybody else. It was actually really funny last night because my son, he looked like he was gonna have a blocked nose, and I could hear him. He was going, oh. Honestly, it was really irritating. So I started laughing about it, and I was like, you know, why are you trying to get rid of it? Why don't you just relax? And then I caught myself as well, right? Because then I'm trying to change him, right? I'm trying to help him, but in a way that is a little bit forced. So I stopped. I had a laugh about it. I told him it was really annoying. I even swore, right? I do swear around my kids. I just do. It just is, right? And he started giggling, and then before I knew it, he was asleep within about 10 minutes. And I wasn't trying to force it. I wasn't trying to change it. I just accepted it as it was, and just loved him, loved the moment, came back to the present moment. I didn't write any stories around, oh my gosh, this means I can't get my meditation done, or this means I can't do this or that or the rest. I didn't. I'm like, I'm right where I'm meant to be. I trust it. I trust what's happening, right? And I still decide. So yes, I bring myself back into neutral, and then once I'm back into neutral, I'm back in my body, and there's no heavy or dense energy there, right? And I don't try and get rid of it. If it's there, I just let it flow through me. Then I choose, like, how do I want to show up? Who am I helping? What wants to flow through me today? How do I stay unconditional in my heart? How do I have good thoughts? Because God only has good thoughts about all of us, right? What do I need to learn? What new skills? What courageous action am I taking? Do I need to be at peace? Like, I don't ask that many questions, actually. that's just like an array of questions you can ask. And then the other thing that I do is what's the other thing I do? I had it and now I've lost it. Oh yes, I choose. I decide what it is I want to think and feel. I decide to show up and be myself. I decide to keep moving forward. I decide to be grateful for everything that I have. I decide that I am co-creating with the divine. I decide to stay in my heart. I decide to be at peace. I decide to take the uncomfortable action. I decide that even if it's the really small step, I'm going to take it, right? I decide, I keep deciding, I keep committing, I keep deciding, I keep learning, right? I decide, and I listen to my intuition and take action from that space, as well as taking the obvious action, right? So I'm not waiting for the manifestation, but I'm not trying to make it happen either, right? I'm participating. Does that make sense, right? Because it's fun. It's a journey of discovery. And the more that I unleash who I am and just accept myself as I am, the fact that I smile, the fact that I laugh at things, the fact that I do have a lot of wisdom, but I am learning how to communicate it in a way that others understand it, because they're not in my head, right? They don't think the way that I do. The more that I open to being coached by others without feeling bad, or without feeling like I'm getting it wrong, or without feeling like they are the ultimate authority and I have to do everything their way, but with being able to take the golden nuggets, right? Being able to be smart, right? And to operate in that way. Knowing that I'm completely loved, knowing that abundance is my birthright, knowing that having everything I desire is my birthright, it's what I came for, knowing that the positive impact I came to make is why I'm here, and that as long as I am grounded and rooted and fully in that, even when I'm not in that, right? It's a really deep space. I'm always fine. I'm always looked after. I'm living the life that I love right now, right? I'm not waiting for the manifestation to come in before I feel that way. And as it comes in, I can allow myself to enjoy it even more, because I've got to tell you, right? When you experience it in the practical, because it starts in your imagination and your thoughts and feelings first, but when you have that within you and you experience it in the practical, oh my God, it's heaven. It really is. It really is, right? And that doesn't mean I'm not human. That doesn't mean I don't have moments where things are jarring. That doesn't mean I don't have moments when, I was about to say when my kids step in shit and stuff. Luckily that hasn't happened, so I'm not writing that story. Cancel. But that doesn't mean that I don't have so here's a story, right? When I went to get my daughter's Indian visa, I went with her, right? And her dad had filled out all the forms. Now her dad is not he's a let's just say he made a really basic mistake on the form, and she was really worried, right, that she wasn't going to get the visa. But because I know how this works, right, I am not swayed by what the circumstances are or what the rigid set of rules looks like. There's some things I have no difficulty manifesting, for real. There's some things that I have no difficulty with, and it'll be the same for you, because we have loads of different energetic set points. But I had to run to the news agents, which I didn't know where it was, right, twice. But because I was just like with the guy, and I was like, all right, fine, what do we do now? Because her dad was at home, there was no way that I could get him to sign it again or fill it out again from there. It was just a really interesting process. But the guy who was serving us, he knew like exactly what to do, and I knew that he was going to know what to do and things like that. And I'm dressed in like my daughter's dress, right? And I'm not gonna lie, right? It's a bit ripped at the top, and she didn't tell me, because it was also, I was taking her out for a nice restaurant for her birthday, just mummy and daughter time. And I'm in my sandals, and I have to run to this, like, get stuff printed and like all the stuff done, right, in a certain amount of time, because we have to make it to the restaurant as well, right? And or else I lose 165 pounds, right? That's just kind of how it went. And so I just had the most amazing time. It was so funny. I listened to my intuition. I went to the photocopy shop. It was so funny. I had banter with the guy in there. Then I came back, and then I had to go again because something else was missing. Oh my God, it was so funny. Anyway, and then I had to pay, and I didn't know I was going to pay. That was 150 quid on the spot, right? And I'm about to take it to this really expensive meal as well. And I was like, oh, okay, well, this is different. Anyway, so I just let myself have fun with it. And she was wearing an old pair of my boots, actually. It was so funny. If I go through the whole story, it's so funny. But she was, so if you'll stay for this long, it's because clearly you like my stories, right? And so she got me to swap shoes with her. And I was wearing my old pair of boots, which I didn't realise she needed a new pair of boots. Oh my God, I haven't worn heels in years. And I got there, and And we were like traipsing to Angel Islington from the embassy, right? Or not the embassy, but the place that does the visa, to the train station. And she's walking, you know, quite fast now because she's in my flat sandals, and I'm in her boots trying to keep up with this dress where I might as well just worn a bra, to be honest with you. And we get to the restaurant on time and everything. It's all fine and stuff. And we swap boots back and all the rest of it. It was just so funny. We were in this really nice restaurant and you know, having a laugh and things like that. And then I forget, because my son wasn't at school, but my alarm was on for me to pick him up at school. And so we were in this really nice, quiet Michelin star restaurant, and all of a sudden my alarm was like, and all eyes were on us at the table, right? So it was really fun. And then I went and pitched to another table and things like that. So that's how my days are, right? They're very spontaneous. They're very full of laughter and joy, very full of unconditional love and peace and things like that. But they're very intentional, right? They're very, very intentional. So even I think 2 days ago, I went to Box Hill. I got the thought, like, you need to go there. You need to take your ex-husband's camera. You need to go. And so I did. I went. And I knew I needed to move my body as well. So it was very intentional. I managed to climb. It's not that difficult. I walked up the stairs. I think it's like 1.2 kilometers. I had all my laptop, everything, my camera, all the rest of it. I was having conversations on the way. I was filming shorts. I did my content. So I got my meditation, I got my inspiration in, I got my content in, I got exercise in, right? And I was at peace. Right? In the most beautiful surroundings with sunshine. Now my head wanted me to go home and sit on a laptop and do that creation. And I can tell you it wouldn't have been the same. And it's not actually what my life is supposed to look like, right? I didn't leave a corporate job to go and just be on a laptop. I came here to provide value and service. And actually the way that I do that isn't in an office environment. It really isn't. So, because I work with your subconscious blocks, right? I work with your emotional mind. That is my genius. So my point is, right, there is a sweet spot of manifestation, and it is not through trying really hard, and it is not through beating yourself up, and it is not from comparing yourself to others, and it is not from being limited by your circumstances, excuse me, and it is not what's the word, it's not from trying to do it all on your own, right? It really isn't. You need love and support. And actually the most amazing thing is when you go through the journey, we will find that things around you heal, old things around you heal, in a way where you didn't expect it, right? You didn't expect it to. And anyway, so I'm losing track there, but there was one more thing that I wanted to say, and I don't know if I got it out in this video. The other video before this I thought was too long. It was 10 minutes. This is like coming up to 20. But you know what? There's so much gold. If you watch it, it will really help you. Yes. So yesterday, I did post a short video on TikTok. It is literally 3 minutes, and it talks about the pause, right? Because you have momentum and then you have mania, and pausing is not giving up. It's not stopping in a way that is going to hurt you. It's not trying to relax because you're trying to get rid of the feeling or get rid of the overwhelm or anything along those lines. And I wouldn't say overwhelm. I don't really agree with overwhelm. There's a difference between excitement, and anyway, it can be different at different times as well. But my point is, sometimes it will feel like you're getting results because you have pulled yourself out of a situation and environment, and you don't understand that there is a subtle pattern that is running in your unconscious mind, right? So the best example I can give of this is with relationships. So you pull yourself out of a relationship because you've spotted the red flags, right? You've spotted the red flags, pulled yourself out of a relationship. Nothing wrong with that, right? But because you haven't sat in the creative tension of that relationship, of what's really going on, because you don't have the awareness, it's actually an escape plan where you're still repeating the same pattern in a new environment. And because the environment looks so new and it looks so yummy, you haven't spotted it yet, right? You haven't spotted it yet. And then when it comes and it hits you, you're like, ah, fuck, I've done that for another year. I did that for another 2 years, right? Now, I'm not saying that when you spot, I'm not saying that you have to stay in the environment. I'm just saying you have to be aware of the pattern, because it might be that you have to leave the environment. It's totally fine, right? Or you take a step, or maybe you take a step towards something that will give you grace, right, to take the next steps. You don't have to go from one extreme to the other. It depends on how you look at it, right? That could also be a subtle pattern that you're operating to, but sometimes you can quantum leap. They're very subtle differences, but the most important thing is that you go deep. Right? Is you go deep, you see what's going on, you look at what you've been thinking and feeling about on a daily basis, but from a place of unconditional love, from a place of objectivity, and then you choose, right? You choose what it is you want. Alright guys, this was an extremely long video. It's not that long, it's only 22 minutes. I'll probably upload it on YouTube actually. So yeah, because that seems to work. I don't think any of the other social media platforms are very good with any videos that are over a minute. But the underlying thing is really to come back to a place of neutrality, to be more of who you are, right? Not the conditions. Be open and coachable, right, to things that serve you, but don't get stuck on a loop, if that makes sense. All right guys, and smile, crack a joke, have some fun, right? Have some laughter, do some swearing, have a little dance. That's what I do. Okay guys, bye bye.